Hey, hey, hey.
Welcome.
Welcome to the Nurse Mark and the Green Nurse Daily Dose of AFA.
Where we bring you hope and inspiration for growth and healing so you can start your day off the AFA way. And in case you've forgotten, tell you what,
Oh,
the best podcast co-host ever wrote a book all about it.
wait a minute. You're the best podcast co-host ever. So
Well, here we go.
you need to write a book.
Well, here's the meta part of it.
Yeah.
You're the best podcast host. I'm the best podcast host.
Yeah.
We're the best podcast host.
Right.
Right? We're absolutely fucking amazing. Exactly.
You know what?
We are.
That's exactly why we're the best, because we are absolutely amazing. Absolutely fucking amazing. Exactly. You, me, everybody who joins us every morning. Oh, yeah.
And, you know, it's so funny. You're like, you don't have to change anything. Well, you know what? I'll tell you what I did need to change. I needed to change my perspective consciousness.
Listen, you don't need to change it, but you can choose to change it. You made a choice because you have power in your life now, because you know you're absolutely amazing. So you can choose to do whatever it is you want. So you decided to change your perspective.
I did. And then, you know, changing my perspective truly opened up those doors to things that I never ever in a million years would ever think were possible. So truly grateful to be here with you this morning, Nurse Mark. And today is the last day of August. Is that right?
Holy good God. We're going into the fall season, Sherry. Of course, it's my favorite season, but here we go. We're sliding right in. Summer has escaped us again. I don't know. It was weird. This year was, another, pandemic year, and it's been different than the past.
It's been really different.
Yeah.
So, but here's the thing that's so good about, even though the difference felt weird and odd, cannabinoids, I always bring it back to cannabis.
Well, cannabis
helps me to adapt to the weirdness, to the situations, to the circumstances, to the feelings, to the trigger.
Right.
Purpose in my life.
Right.
I don't have
I have to say, Sherry, this whole pandemic has been hard on everybody.
Yeah, it has.
Hard on everybody, and especially the adolescents. It's really been difficult on them. I mean, they have a tough time anyway. Think about it. When I was growing up, I don't know about you, but I didn't have social media. I didn't have all that pressure. I didn't have the constant feedback and the constant need to be in front of other people, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of pressure on them. And so there is an epidemic now going on of suicide in the adolescent community, and it's just awful.
Yeah, and
it really is. And cannabis could help, but of course, we have all of that stigma surrounding it and all of the negative things. Well, it could change the brain in negative ways.
Yeah, but you know what though, Mark?
Better, what? That's all conjecture. And it's better to be alive and happy than not.
This is how I look at it. Very same perspective.
Yeah.
You have to look at it risk-benefit ratio. If cannabis can decrease the risk of someone killing themselves, guess what? I think it's a benefit.
So what are the alternatives, Sherry? If a young person says that they're going to kill themselves, what do? They put them on heavy-duty psychotropic medications that cause what? Suicidality in adolescents.
Yeah, and that changes.
It doesn't work. It doesn't work. So I am pro cannabis in that area.
I am too. I am, and I'm
just going to go out and say it. I don't care if people disagree with me. Go ahead, disagree with me.
Disagree. Here it is: risk-benefit ratio, decreasing suffering, improving quality of life. Right. We need to look at all of these things. And I have 3 children. I have a 15-year-old, a 19-year-old, and a 21-year-old. And you better believe they're sweet buns that they're using cannabinoids. They're using cannabinoids that are appropriate for them.
Right.
Seriously, I've got a son with a disability. He relies on social interaction with kids in school. Right. So he went from a loner now into school, now, playing football, and now they're wearing, it's this big, huge something that these kids aren't used to. Now, granted, stuff happens, shit happens, but I wasn't prepared for. None of us were prepared for this. And then you throw in kids, we have all of our traumas and dramas and triggers coming up to all of these outside circumstances. Well, you know what? The kids feel that. First of all.
Yeah.
They feel exactly and see and how we as adults respond to specific situations, how we manage our stress, how we take care of ourselves to show up as the best version of ourselves every single day.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So back to.
Well, I'm going to back to the show.
Everybody, good morning, Laura. You know what, Sherry, back to the fact that you're absolutely amazing, exactly as you are. And everybody who's listening, absolutely amazing, exactly as you are. But you mentioned something earlier about you decided that, although you don't have to change anything about yourself, you're still absolutely amazing and perfect exactly as you are. You made a decision that you wanted to change your perspective.
Yes.
Your choice, your life. Powerful.
It is. And here's the thing, is about perspective consciousness, right? When you're able to pull out of the story, and Mark and I talk about all the time about landmark, that story, that repetitive that goes into your head. Changing your perspective allows you to see things in ways that you've never saw them before. Because if you're in a space, it's hard to get out of that one lens. And here we go. It's time to put on some glasses and look out of the eyes of love.
Yes. And it's perfect. It's a perfect segue into the daily love today because it talks about that exact situation that you just brought up. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Rip into it.
Let's rip.
Deanna, good morning. Okay, here we go. We're gonna rip right through this one. You ready?
I'm ready.
This is from Find and Use Your Inner Power. I always love that. Find and use your inner power.
There you go.
Maybe you lost it. Maybe you don't know where it is, but you're going to find it and you're going to use it. Okay, so this is called Only Your Own Thoughts. You ready, Sherry? Because this is good. All right. No matter what problem you may have to face today, there is a solution because you have nothing to deal with but your own thoughts. As you know, you have the power to select and control your thoughts, difficult though it may be at times to do so. As long as you think that your destiny is in the hands of other people, the situation is hopeless. People say, it's useless for me to struggle because of such and such a reason. If only I had a profession, if only I had married someone else, if only I had not bought this business, if only I had gone abroad when I had the chance, and so on. But this is a vital mistake because you have nothing to deal with but your own thoughts. Now, remind yourself of this fact constantly. Repeat it to yourself 100 times a day until you really do begin to grasp all that it means to you. Write it down where you'll see it often. Have it on your desk or wherever you work. Hang it in your bedroom where you will easily see it. Write it in your pocketbook. Write it on your soul by constantly dwelling upon it.
Here's my big takeaway.
Yeah.
I am not my thoughts, first of all, right? There's no one more important than you. There's no one more important than me. There's no one more important than we. And our job is to take care of ourselves and our thoughts.
Yeah. You only have to deal with your thoughts about it. You don't have to deal with the situation because whatever the situation is, if you're dealing with other people, you have no control over it. As a matter of fact, you really don't know what's going on in the situation because you never know what's going on in somebody else's head. You just assume you do and make up a story about it. You never know. You can't peer into their brain and see the structure of all the connections of the synapses and know how they're feeling emotionally about it.
Yeah.
You never know. But what you do know is what you think about it.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that's the power, Sherry.
That is the power. So I'll give a little story to that.
Oh, I love your stories.
A little kind of story, and it has to do with the cannabis industry and the space. So I posted a couple of our shows up on Instagram.
Yep.
And one of the shows, because we're going to talk about terpenes today.
Yeah.
And, we talk about terpenes, the benefits, where they're found, et cetera, et cetera. We talk about chemovars, chemotypes. And then at the end, we give the strain names. Well, this particular viewer only watched the end of it and only saw the part about the strain names. And he says, how dare you be cannabis nurses and researchers and scientists and talking about strain names? And I said, yo, bro, man, it was just, I literally said to him, I said, this was just one part of the show. You know what I mean?
Right.
You just tuned into that 2 minutes of strain names. So, but that's the thing, is that he started to create a story about what we were doing on.
Oh, wait a minute. You mean he had expectations about how it should appear?
Yeah.
How scientific research should be, presented?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm doing a little motion here, which means, yeah, sorry.
But I did have some compassion for him, and I said,
well, of course, because
I'm loving and powerful.
You are. Exactly.
And I basically said to him, and I said to him, you know what? I would love to have you on the show. Let's have a dialogue. I want to know what you think about all of it, because it's true. So, but for him to be so vehemently negative.
And so did he accept your offer to be on the show?
He did. And can I tell you, by the end of the conversation, thank you for what you do. So we went from
Sherry,
doing it wrong.
You are loving and powerful. Absolutely.
Well, this is it. I said,
I might not have been in that particular situation because I get pretty fired up about stuff.
But can I tell you, I look at it.
Then I become powerful and loving.
Yeah. So, well, that was the thing, is usually I'd be like, right back. And I was like, wait a minute. What would the cannabis plant say?
Right. Right.
And the cannabis plant would say, yo, bro, go chill, man.
Be compassionate. Right. Because people have their own way of being built on all of their experiences. It's got nothing to do with who they really are.
Yeah.
Because that person is absolutely fucking amazing.
Exactly.
In his own way. Absolutely.
In his own way.
Yeah.
And I told him, I said, I appreciate you watching those 2 minutes, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
Thank you for tuning in,
Listen,
so
I mean, we all think the names are hilarious. They're definitely not what we would, say in the realm of scientific. I mean, honestly, right? So all of these states, they're a good reference point, because that's how we're naming them right now. Right. Now, Sherry, it's the same as we talk about cannabis all the time, and yet we have what? In each one of the states, we have a medical marijuana program. That is such a bullshit old term that is stigmatized to the nth degree, and yet the states still insist on calling it a medical marijuana program.
Right. Yeah. Right.
How about using the scientific name, folks, of cannabis?
Yeah.
Yes.
This is a cannabinoid program, right?
It is.
It's include. How about cannabinoid therapeutics program? I would love it for them to get involved with all the other health and wellness activities that support.
Listen, I don't have a master's in medical marijuana science and therapeutics. It's medical cannabis science and therapeutics, right? They got it right.
They got it right. So that's why we're bringing high science forward, right? So high science, think about what that is.
It's okay to be high. As a matter of fact, we encourage it. We encourage you to be high. We want you to have hope. We want you to have inspiration. We want you to grow. We want you to heal. We want you to be high. Yeah, absolutely.
And so that's the part that's cool. Is so we are bringing these principles, plant wisdom and medicine, into science. So marrying, we talk about all the time.
We bring the two together into a wonderful, understandable, digestible format.
Yes. Spirituality is the root of cannabis care.
That it
is. And then we have science to back it all up. And that's what we're doing here, to bridge the gap from what people aren't getting from traditional medicine, to decrease stigma around what it means to feel good and be high, and to educate and empower patients to make choices that are best for them.
Sherry, you just said something and it triggered something else in me. You just said traditional medicine. I would argue that we're bringing traditional medicine, and it's the other medicinal practices that are not traditional. They're only been in existence for the last 100 years or so, right?
You're absolutely right.
We have the traditional medicine. Yay!
We have the plants.
Yay! We are old school traditional medicine people.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
For sure. So
that's awesome.
Before we get into Tidbit Tuesday and those hugs and nugs, I want to give a shout out. Hopefully I won't cry, but shout out to all the people that are out there that are sick and suffering and dying. I
Yeah.
just got a phone call last night from a friend of mine who's two friends. They're a couple. They're from Massachusetts and they're in Arizona now, and they both got COVID. And I don't like to talk to make the big show about COVID. I'm just not going there. However, they're suffering and she's dying. And, she's a breast cancer patient that's been going under chemotherapy and radiation. She's been protecting herself on all ends.
Yeah.
She got COVID. She was med flighted to the intensive care unit, and they don't know if she's going to live. So
awful.
I know.
Awful.
So my heart goes out because that's the only thing, is that her boyfriend wasn't allowed to go, wasn't allowed to show up, wasn't allowed to go in.
No.
And she's being put on a ventilator. So.
Oh, sure.
I know, it's so sad. And that's the thing
It
too.
is.
And I've dealt with death and dying in hospice work.
Yeah.
And, coming to a space of looking at my own mortality multiple different times, being sick and working with patients and helping them transition over. We know that energy always is, always will, and always will be. And they're just
never changes, transmutes.
Yeah. Into another world, the unseen world, whatever you choose to call it. However, there's still that physicality part of who they are is gone, and you feel like it's gone forever, and it's sad. My sadness around death and dying isn't necessarily about the person that's actually dying. It's about the people around them that suffer.
Yeah.
Right? The people that are around them, because that's where
my well,
just want to
once you and acknowledge her, we will right now. Yeah. And working in hospice definitely changes your perspective around death and dying, doesn't it?
Totally does.
Yeah.
Interesting to have private conversations with some of the people that are on hospice and how their main concern was about their family.
Of course.
They reached the point where they're like, I'm good. I'm okay. I'm ready to go. But they're hanging on bare bones because of their families.
Right.
And they don't, and they feel that. Right. So here's a really good story. I know we're going to talk about yesterday. How about we did a little filming yesterday?
We did.
And we had Marta.
Oh, she is so fabulous.
Surviving.
She is so fabulous. And what a great story, Sherry.
You know what? The part that's interesting about the story, too, is I haven't seen her. So yesterday was the first time I had seen her in 4 years. So she's a patient that came to me, and she reminded me it was in 2017.
Yep.
I was just forming the green nurse. I had just did a presentation at hospice, and I was called in and to go and help her. She had a ton of cannabis, didn't know how to use it. Stage 4 pancreatic cancer.
Yeah.
Unresectable tumor. This is just a good story. Failed chemo, failed radiation. Started on a little bit of cannabis. My working with her was, what is your goal of cannabis? She goes, I just don't want to be in pain, and I just want to be lucid for my family. And so I said, okay. So we came up with a regimen. That was the end, helped her for like a week, got her on something, that her quality of life, and I'm thinking that she's dying. Well, she didn't die, in December
4 years
5th,
later.
Reminds me, well, this was not even 4 years later, but 4 years later. But let me tell you, she reminded me of how long it took for the cannabis to work. Yeah. So this was August, September, October, November, December. 4 months. Tumor completely gone. Now, the interesting thing is that she said when she went back for her October scan, she says that they looked at the scan and they were saying, oh, the tumor must be hiding. We don't.
Yeah. Tumors just move around.
And then in November, same thing. They were like, I wonder if it moved. So it was very interesting. And then finally, they had a huge team on December 5th look at everything, and there was no evidence of cancer.
Yeah, imagine that. And we're talking pancreatic cancer, by the way, which my uncle passed away from, my mom passed away from, a very dear friend passed away from in a very short amount of time. Usually that is absolutely a death sentence. Like there's not anything that they can really do for it, except prolong through some very difficult procedures that leave you with a very low quality of life. So to talk to her and interact with her is magical.
It was magical. Just to see how
Cannabis for the win.
For the win. And, I was like, when we were walking around the farm with her yesterday, I was like all nervous and, wanted to make sure she was all right. And she was like marching up and down the farm, looking at the animals.
It was fine. She took a tour, saw the chicks. Oh yeah. She was all over the place. She was delightful. She really was delightful.
Yeah. So yesterday was a great day on the farm. We just did some producing and some shooting and met some great people and really, really bringing community together, all of us together, as a community, patients, providers. And that's why we have the holistic caring community.
We have that community.
And we want you guys to come and join us because it is for all patients.
We have a question on that. Was she on high dose? Because a lot of times we'll hear about, when somebody's doing cannabis, when someone's doing cannabis for cancer, they're doing like a Rick Simpson protocol. It's 90 days, high dose. She wasn't.
No. So here's the interesting thing is that because I met her where she was at and her goal was just to be comfortable. She wasn't looking to cure anything. She had come to a place of accepting death, realized this is her time to go. All she wanted to do was feel good. So she did CBD in the daytime. I'll tell you exactly what she did. 100 milligrams of CBD in the daytime, full spectrum, 25 milligrams, breakfast, lunch, dinner, bedtime. And then at bedtime, she took Rick Simpson oil, THC, CBD combo in a capsule. That's all she took. That was it. It wasn't the 90 days. So if you really do the math, when we figured out the capsule, she was probably getting anywhere between, I would say 25 and 40 milligrams of THC at bedtime. And that was it.
Yeah.
Usually when the Rick Simpson protocol, when they talk about it, they want people to get up to 1 gram a day. Huge. And that's about 800 milligrams of THC a day, or anywhere between 600 and 800. So if you look at a gram
depending on
concentration. So if a gram of Rick Simpson oil tests at 60% THC, that means that gram of Rick Simpson oil has 600 milligrams.
And so that's a lot in a day.
It's a lot. Here's the thing is if I gave her that, it would have knocked her out. She would have been sleeping forever. So
listen, that's what it is. That's like a 90-day, it's a 90-day sleep fest.
Yeah. But what we do, Mark, which is kind of cool, we have been able to titrate people up that have had really good responses to cancer treatment. And I'm going to say there's only been a handful that I've worked with that have gone into remission that have needed the full Rick Simpson protocol. A lot of the patients that we work with, we customize and we follow and we monitor. The goal first is to improve quality of life, decrease side effects, manage symptoms. And then we slowly dial up on the THC until we start to see a response.
Right.
And that's right.
That's it.
And a lot of times people have a great response with just a little bit.
Yeah. And again, it's different with everybody because their receptor count is going to be different based on what's going on in their body.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So good stuff.
Good stuff. Now, here we are. Terpene Tuesday. Hug and a nug. Last day of August.
Yeah. So terpenes, right? We're going to discuss campheine today. But first, let's discuss what terpenes are.
Yeah.
What organic compounds that produce specific smells, tastes. They're found in cannabis, essential oils, plants, trees, and foods. And as we know, when the cannabis plant is growing, that smell, the cannabis, the terpenes help ward off attacks from animals, insects, and fungus. And this is during the growth cycle of the plant, that smell. And so when cannabis plant goes through the curation process, as it starts to age, as you harvest it, the terpenes become oxidized, resulting in what we know as terpenoids.
Right.
And they contribute, Mark, to what?
Oh my gosh, Sherry. The entourage effect, which everybody in the scientific, we want to get scientific, everyone in the scientific community agrees that there is an entourage effect, meaning that all of the components, by the way, there's like 11, 12, 1,300 different chemical components in a cannabis plant, right? So a lot. But all of those together have a much more profound positive effect than just the isolated compounds, which is what pharmaceutical medicines try to do, is pull out a specific compound, test it, and see if it works. This entourage effect includes the terpenes, includes the flavonoids, includes all of those things. And it makes it so much more powerful, which, as you like to say, it's the whole of the plant is greater than its individual parts.
Right. Instead of and think about a salad bar. That's how I like to look at it.
Yeah.
You go down your salad bar and you have all of these beautiful, nutritious fruits and vegetables. And it's great to have romaine lettuce. We'll say romaine lettuce is THC, and it's great to have spinach.
It's great. Romaine's great.
It's great. But we want to add as much as we can to the salad.
Oh my God. Isn't a salad that has all of the different components just so much better than just plain romaine?
Plain romaine. Yeah. Plain romaine's good, but it's better when you add components to it.
Oh yeah. And that's what this entourage effect is about.
It is.
So today, Sherry,
we're going to
talk about what?
Campheine. So when we talk about terpenes, so Mark and I have been covering terpenes for a while. In the past couple of weeks, we've been talking about all of them. So now we're going to we're going to that salad bar and we're finding campheine and we're pulling campheine out of the salad bar.
Yeah.
That's what we're going to talk about today.
And it's a bicyclic monoterpene. Oh, exciting. So what's that mean? That means the chemical structure of that particular terpene is bicyclic. Monoterpene means that it has rings. In other words, the chemical structure can be linear and an acyclic monoterpene, or it can be closed ring, which means it's just all connected. Oh, it's so exciting, Sherry. I love this stuff.
I know you do.
So campheine is a bicyclic monoterpene.
Yep. Yeah. And the other thing that we've learned too is that, the literature state that it's a colorless crystal that can be used as a substitute for camphor.
Yeah.
So what is camphor, Mark?
So camphor oil, this has been around for ages and ages and ages, right, Sherry? It's been used in a medicinal format for a long, long time. Camphor is an oil that's extracted from the wood of camphor trees, and it's processed by steam distillation and can be used topically to relieve pain, irritation, and itching. I mean, this is how we figured out this. I mean, that's how we got medicines, man. We found them in plants.
We found them in plants.
Forever and ever.
Yeah. So campheine is used as a fragrance or to texturize resins and lacquers. Campheine may also be used as a food additive to enhance flavors. Like we had talked about, it's found in essential oils such as cypress and valerian amounts. And what about the historical uses?
My gosh, it was used for fuel for lamps in the 19th century because it was a cheaper alternative to whale oil.
Right.
However, due to its flammability, right?
Yeah. Because cannabinoids and terpenes are what? They're heat sensitive.
Yeah.
So the flammability of this terpene, it was no longer used this way. And so kerosene actually replaced camphor as the fuel choice for lamps.
Yeah.
So back to campheine, which is similar. What does it smell like? It's got like it is kind of, when I smelt it, it's very pungent and damp smelling. Yeah. Although, when you smell things, it goes through how I look at it when I'm smelling something and I keep smelling it, it kind of shifts the smell because there's undertones that come up.
Yeah.
You have these pungent, damp, the smell, and then you have like the undertones of herbs and pine, and it can be really musky,
Right.
It enhances the flavor.
Yeah. So where's it found? Natural sources.
Natural sources. Rosemary, fir, lavender, sage, nutmeg, tulsi, camphor, like we talked about, ginger, valerian, cypress, citronella, hemp, and cannabis.
Yeah. And so notice that a lot of those are food additives, right? Spices, things that we add to our diet. So we're getting this terpene. Again, terpenes are everywhere. We're getting these in our regular diet if we're adding these things, right?
Yeah.
So in everyday life.
Everyday life, Mark, tell me.
Citronella candles is a mosquito repellent because of that smell, right?
Yeah.
It's controversially used as a minor ingredient in bark collars. It's said to calm the dogs and discourage barking. However, Veterinarians warn against the use of citronellate oil with any pet as it may be toxic
to them. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the camphaine is also used in skincare products, ointments, creams. And so the bottom line, when we talk about these different terpenes, don't go out and buy a big bottle of camphaine, right? We're talking about they're microscopic. They are
tiny
that are added, right? And so when you study these terpenes, they're pulling it out and they're looking at the terpene itself and how it can be used as a medicinal property. That's how they're getting the science. They're not looking at the entire entourage, right? They're looking at one thing. So what about the medicinal properties of camphaine?
Oh my gosh, here we go again. Same as, it's a laundry list of amazing properties, right? Antioxidant, antibacterial, antiviral, antifungal, anti-inflammatory, and can be an expectorant.
Right. So
yeah.
Expectorant, you think you're clearing up, you might be coughing a little bit, clearing the phlegm, opening up airways, right?
Yep.
So anyway, so the therapeutic benefits of camphaine. So think about an antioxidant. So when you are combining camphaine with citrus oils, it's been shown to reduce the oxidative stress that can lead to tissue damage.
Yeah.
Right? In the Ayurvedic Indian system, they've known about these types of combinations for millennia, right?
Thousands of years.
Ayurvedic practitioners, they tap into this through a juniper berry oil, right? And it's included in a lot of different natural remedies. So what about like camphaine combined with vitamin C?
Well, it could be a powerful antioxidant that fights free radicals. And those are the metabolic terrorists that really cause a lot of cellular damage. And it's caused by oxidative stress, and it's a contributing factor to inflammation. Now, inflammation is a natural system within your body, Sherry,
right?
And you need an inflammatory process during the healing process, right? It's when it becomes chronic, and it does, that it becomes an issue.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Then we have the antibacterial. So combinations of camphaine, eugenol, and the tulsi oil is effective for the treatment of fungal, viral, and bacterial infections that affect the respiratory system. So think about aromatherapy, right? That can help clear congestion. And it's really, really a great effect in the treatment of the respiratory disorders such as bronchitis. And like we had mentioned, it may act as a cough suppressant, a decongestant, and an expectorant,
Yeah.
So
and then we have antifungal properties, right? So the combination of camphaine and camphor and sage oil has antifungal properties that work well in the treatment of athlete's foot, dysentery, fungal infections, and dermatitis. It's those properties that make it ideal for use in skincare products.
Right. Yeah. And then just like we had said before, camphaine combined with other terpenes plays a role in decreasing inflammation that also may work as an analgesic to decrease pain.
Right. And then we have cardiovascular health. It may assist as a lipid lowering agent and may help lower bad cholesterol.
Yeah. So this is for my friend on Instagram. We're going to mention.
Yeah, baby. Strain names. Here we go.
These are strain names, and these are just as a reference point to point out that these are the types of, if you're looking at strain names, may contain this particular terpene camphaine. So mostly indica dominant.
Yeah.
Now these specific strains, sorry, I just called them trains.
These trains leaving the station.
I know, and there's like a train of names.
Yeah.
Actually combined various different cannabinoids, right? And so when you look at it, when we look at chemotypes, high THC equal THC to CBD, and then more CBD to THC.
Chemotype 1, 2, and 3, yeah.
Exactly. So these particular strains are vast across the board. So it's specifically the terpenes that actually quantify them for the different types of effect they're going to have. So so here's an example. ACDC, Ghost OG. ACDC is more of a CBD dominant type of cannabis plant, where Ghost OG is more of an indica dominant high THC. So this is the point I'm trying to make.
Right.
That just because you see a particular terpene in a lab result, don't make any assumptions, because it's everything else that's going to contribute to it. So the strain names that are associated with higher camphaine levels are ACDC, Ghost OG, Strawberry Banana, Banana Kush, OG Kush, And Mendocino Perps.
Boom.
Give a few examples.
Yeah. Listen, we had some studies too. There were 10 total with caffeine in cannabis. Imagine that, a minor terpene still being studied.
Yeah.
So what did they look? By organ system, they looked at the respiratory, nervous, integumentary, which is your skin, cardiovascular, and digestive. So what conditions did they look at?
So the top conditions that they studied were generalized pain, heart disease, cancer, melanoma, fungal infections, tuberculosis, oxidative stress, and bacterial infections.
Yeah, listen, there's so much therapeutic potential, Sherry. We just keep exploring and looking at new research. It's such a great time to be in this space.
It is a great time. So Terpene Tuesday.
Yeah, baby.
Then nugs, whole plant medicine for the win. When we talk about terpenes, cannabinoids, when you are shopping for a product, we want to make sure that all of the products that you look at have a certificate of analysis and are able to break down these different components for you so you can choose the best product for you.
Right. Yes. All right. Share.
What do we got going on?
Oh my gosh. Well, we'll be back again tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. and then tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Yeah. Super Botanicals.
Super Botanicals honey. Really cool. Created by a woman who is an herbalist who studied, her name is Moni Schiffler. She studied under Tammy Sweet, who is a very well-known, respected herbalist here in the Northeast. Tammy Sweet's done some great work. And so
traditional medicine. This is traditional medicine.
Yeah. Traditional medicine. Absolutely. Yeah. So exactly. She's an herbalist utilizing traditional medicine way from back when, bringing it in. And so the part that's cool is that this woman has a very compelling story. And for those of you that have gastrointestinal issues, she talks a lot about the microbiome and these honeys that were created to not only target specific symptoms and conditions, but also to work on the microbiome, in multiple different ways. So it's a good interview. And she and her great grandmother was in Germany and was a famous herbalist. Yeah. So I'm really, really excited to have her on because we've been testing out the honey, and I'm not going to lie, I like it. It's fabulous.
All right. She'll be on.
Good stuff.
Good stuff.
And then we have the rest of the week. We're going to be here every day.
Yes, we are.
At 8 a.m. And we want you all to join our community.
Yeah. Right? As we roll towards Labor Day weekend, the traditional end of summer. Well, that's okay. That's okay.
So the reason why you want to join the community is because it's free, number one.
It's a great point.
Yeah. Free
number two, uncensored.
Uncensored. Yeah. Free, uncensored. Free introductory to cannabis course.
Yep.
Interactions with all of us cannabis nurses, as well as other providers from across the globe.
Yeah.
Patient support group, a patient portal. There is a free book club, and you don't even need to own the book. And
where is
first book?
There it is. Cannabis. Oh yeah, for the win.
One, right? We got 2 books that we're going
to.
So we started the book club.
Join it. Just come on in.
Come on in.
And spread the word, please.
Spread the word.
That's how we get it done. All right, share.
This is how we do it.
This has been so much fun, man. We went a little long today, but gosh darn it, we had a lot of good discussions. And this is a great way for me to start my AFA day. And I'm going to remember that it's all in here. I don't have to deal with anything outside. It's right here. That's where I have my power.
Yeah. Well, listen, y'all. Mark, I'm going to have an AFA day. You're going to have an AFA day.
Yes.
We're going to have an AFA day.
We are.
And remember.
Yeah.
What's it all about?
Oh, living your best life and helping others to do the same.
We love you all. See you tomorrow.
Love you guys. See you.